Hey everyone, back again with another video to help you out. This time we're taking the body control module out of a 2019 Kia Sorento. And if you're doing this at home, God bless you, because this is a pain in the butt. And all I can say for this is that this is just a video to show you how to take it out, where it is and how to take it out. If you're taking one of these out to replace it with one that's bad in your vehicle, if you're in the junkyard or you're buying a used one, I can't tell you if this needs flashed. I can only assume it does because of it being so new. It'll likely need to be taken to the dealership or the shop that you choose and have them scan it with their scan tool to make sure that it is compatible with your vehicle. I don't know anything more than that. But in order to get this out of here, you're going to need to take your radio out. The tools I used were a 8mm on a socket, a flathead screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver, and that's basically it. If you're doing this at home, you might want to use a nylon panel removal tool so you don't mess up your dash or anything or scratch it. But this module is located right here, kind of half between the center console and the airbag, kind of tucked in behind here. You'll have two plugs on the bottom, opposite or different sizes, and you'll have two on the side. I would recommend, once you get access to this, to take pictures to make sure that you get the switch or to get the plugs in the right spot so you don't mess anything up. This has the antenna on it for the receiver for, I assume, your keyless entry and all that stuff too. But in any case, to get to this, I'll show you what you have to do. You have to remove this bezel that surrounds the radio, and it's just held in with clips here. I took this little panel here off too. You don't have to do that, but just get in behind it and just go slowly around the edge just to make sure you don't mess your dash up. Pop it out, make sure you don't pull it out too aggressively and mess up your heater vents. Set that to the side. You'll get access to your radio. It sits in there very snugly, I might add. You'll be able to there's an 8mm here and an 8mm here. They also have screw heads in them, so you can just use your screwdriver if you can get to them. And then two more on this side, an 8 and an 8. Just make sure you're careful taking those out, that you don't drop them down inside the dash. And then you'll have to take more stuff apart to get those screws back. Pull this out. You'll have a number of plugs. You'll have two plugs over here, which are these ones right there. These two large plugs go right there. You get your little trigger switch, and then you'll have this blue one here that goes on the end. Goes right there on the end, and then you'll have like 2 or 3 other ones that go right here. Just press on the little triggers on the ends of the plastic part of the wire clip and pull those out, and then set that aside. And then you'll have to also remove your heater control here in order to get to the bottom of it. The bottom of this here is just held in with clips. You just get in beside it on the edges, try not to mess up that chrome piece on the bottom. Just pry those out so far and it'll release. You don't have to unclip it or anything. And then the same thing here with your heater controls, just get in beside the edges of it without messing up the dash. Pull it out so far and just leave it hang. You'll have a 10mm here that sits on a stud. I'm in the junkyard, so this isn't a huge deal to put this back. But there's a stud that sticks out right here that this lines up with. You'll obviously need to make sure you realign it when you're putting this back together. Right there. Pull that stud, pull this, it's this little, not that one. You'll have this little 10mm nut right there that goes over that. You'll have another 10mm nut down here which looks like this one. You'll have to take that off, set it aside. And then the tricky one is right there. See if I can focus on it. That stud right there. You'll have a 10mm on that as well. Now, in order to get to that one, I'm sure the prescribed method is to take all this stuff apart. And you know what? We don't have time for that because you got stuff to do. So in order to get to that, on my impact, I have this swivel that can turn in different directions. And then I just came in from the side without it on the impact, obviously, so that way I could get it lined up and get it on there. And then I just gave it a little squeeze and got that loose. Now you have to have the bottom here loose because you'll have these two plugs right here to take off the bottom of the body control module. They're the same size, they're the same everything, and they're pretty much stuck like that, so you won't be able to mess that back up when you go to put these back in, because they're pretty much sit just like this. So this one will go the closest to the driver's side, and that'll go to the passenger side. But then you'll also have a couple gray plugs up here. Somewhere. Right here. These are the two gray plugs that look exactly alike. So if you can mark these somehow so you can tell which one is which when you go to put these back in. I just use the screwdriver to press in on these little tabs to release those. And then the tricky part is getting this big son of a gun out of this thing, because you don't really have a lot of room here. So again, I'm sure the prescribed way is take the dash apart in order to gain access to this thing, but I'm doing this in the junkyard, so not a huge deal. So what I did was I came up through underneath here and grabbed a hold of the module, and then I pulled this back away so I could get better access, and then just wiggled this thing out of here through the radio hole. It might take you a minute, and you may want to wear gloves so you don't get scratched up by the metal and the plastic inside of here, because it is kind of sharp. But wriggle this thing out and get it out to you. Try not to mess it up or anything, or the plug here for your antenna and all that stuff. But that's how to get this thing out of here and where it's at. So if this helped you out at all, please drop a like down below. I would really appreciate that. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, especially if you subscribe, which I would really appreciate as well. Thanks again.